Welcome to Investor's Guide. You're watching ET Now. This is a show that helps you find the perfect investment product in the market. Now, I have something very exciting to share with you before we go any further. Now, given all of the response that we received from you for every special episode we did on real estate and property and home loans on this show, we've decided on ET Now to launch a brand new show. The Property Guide will air every weekend. It's a show that will be brought to you by the same team that's been putting together Investor's Guide over the last 4 years. The idea behind the Property Guide is to review property, locations and projects and actually make lists that will help you find the perfect home for your family. Of course, we'll answer questions for you on property as well on that show, so you can catch it on these times on ET Now. You can write to us here on Investor's Guide on the email ID that's flashing at the bottom of your screen. Over the next half hour on this show, we'll help a young investor get started and support his family. In our product review, we look at the ICICI Prudential Discovery Fund and we'll find out what alternate investment instruments you have to save on tax. Let me bring in Kumar, the CEO of Value Research and our in-house mutual fund expert. Dhirendra, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you very much.
It's time for our portfolio question. This week, 24-year-old Anil Satya writes in. He's a regular viewer of Investor's Guide and he tells us the show has helped him tremendously. Well, thank you for watching, Anil. I'm glad we've been able to help you. Dhirendra, he's a young man and he supports his parents and his younger sister and he wants to begin investing his money. He has a monthly income of 42,000 rupees. He has a term cover of 1 crore rupees, which is very impressive, and a family floater that he gets from his employer. Now, he has 3 goals. He wants to buy a home in the next 2 years. He wants to plan for his sister's wedding. He's already saved up 5 lakh rupees and he wants to invest that money now for the short term. And he also wants to look at his own long-term future. He's opened a demat account to invest in the Rajiv Gandhi Equity Savings Scheme and he wants to save his tax. So he currently has investable corpus of 1 lakh rupees a year. Let's go target by target, Dhirendra. Let's first talk about his sister's wedding. He says he wants to be able to pull that money out anytime when it's necessary over the next 6 months to a year. What would you like him to do with that money?
My suggestion will be that he should put that money in an ultra short-term bond fund, and that way the money will be accessible anytime. He can take his money at 48 hours notice, and it will be able to deliver him marginally better return than equivalent term deposit, whatever be the period, a 45-day deposit or a 30-day or a 90-day. He'll be able to get little more return than that, and there's a reasonable safety. They don't go down in value if on a 7-day holding period. So that should do the job.
But Dhirendra, he's a young man. He's going to have trouble picking from all of the short-term bond funds available in the market right now. Could you give him a name of a fund that he could use?
Ultra short-term funds, the difference in return is not much. But if I have to choose some, I would say Taurus short-term fund or Birla Sun Life short-term income opportunity fund and Templeton's ultra short-term bond fund.
All right, so we're going to leave that on your screen for a little while. These are ultra short-term bond funds that Dhirendra is recommending for those of you who have a very short time horizon and you want to be able to pull the money out at a moment's notice. Dhirendra, let's move on to his next goal. In 2 years, he wants to buy a home worth 35 or 30 lakh rupees, which means that he roughly needs about 6 lakh rupees at least at the end of 2 years for the down payment of that home, which he should be able to put aside about 20,000 rupees a month to be able to arrive at that amount. Where would you like him to invest that money?
I would say that even for this money, he should consider an income fund and an income fund which does not take big rate bets on rate outlook. So from that standpoint, the accrual fund from the income fund universe will be a superior choice.
And finally, Dhirendra, his own long-term savings, he has, we said, 1 lakh rupees to invest every year. Now, whether he should be using the equity scheme, the Rajiv Gandhi Equity Savings Scheme, or he should be using an ELSS, what's the best way for him to go about it at this point?
Prioritizing the two, because you get tax break on both, but the tax break are not equal. I would say that the first priority of any investor who is paying taxes should be to avail anything under Section 80C to the hilt, which is a maximum investment of 1 lakh rupees. Completely exhaust your 80C in an ELS scheme for your long-term savings, and and Rajiv Gandhi equity scheme will not entail you the same benefit as 80C, because under Section 80C you just deduct all your investment for a 3-year lock-in, and that is deducted from your income for computing taxes.
All right, so remember also, Anil, that your PF is tax deductible plus your life insurance premium is tax deductible, and the remaining amount you can invest in an ELSS. And on your screen right now, I'm going to put up the names of equity-linked savings schemes that Dhirendra has been recommending on the show for this year. And then, of course, you can put the remaining amount that you have disposable in the Rajiv Gandhi Equity Savings Scheme. Write back to us if you need any help. Good luck with all of those goals. They all look amply achievable from where you are right now. Let's move on to the next question. Fern has written in, Dhirendra, that she's been investing 10,000 rupees in the Reliance Diversified Power Sector Fund. Interestingly enough, she split it up across two and invested half of it in the dividend option and half in the growth option. But net, the returns have been disappointing. She wants to know now if she should pull out that money and invest it somewhere else, perhaps the Reliance Regular Savings Equity Fund. What would you recommend?
Yes, if this money is not needed for many years, then it should certainly move into a diversified equity fund, and this happens to be a good fund. So investing for many years, move your money to the Reliance Regular Savings Equity Fund.
Well, Dhirendra, she has another question. She began investing in the HDFC Top 200 fund a little earlier this year based on our advice, and she's a little worried because she heard you recommend a sell on this fund to someone who has a 15-year horizon. Now, she has a 5-year horizon on this fund, and I'm sure there are a lot of viewers who are confused about why we ask someone with a 15-year horizon not to use HDFC Top 200. So can we go over one more time, Dhirendra? For someone who has a 5-year horizon, does HDFC Top 200 make sense? And how is that different than someone who has a 15-year horizon?
I would say that for a 5-year time frame, consider a balanced fund. That will also amount to being a bit venturesome. But it is worth taking a chance to enhance, to be able to beat inflation, which the fixed income is not able to today.
All right, and Dhirendra, I'm going to quickly ask you again about HDFC Top 200. For those of our viewers who are holding it right now, which of those viewers should continue to hold that fund and which one should review its purpose in their portfolio at this point?
HDFC Top 200 is going through a lean patch, and maybe going by the dynamics, some of its character might undergo a change. It has become a large fund, and earlier its performance was reasonably driven by the mid-cap bets. But, we have come across many portfolios where investors hold HDFC Equity, HDFC Top 200 and HDFC Prudence, and that makes up their entire portfolio. I think that is not a wise thing to do. The reason why you invest in mutual fund is to diversify your portfolio. Such investors have to worry, and HDFC Top 200 should be one of your investment, or maybe half of your investment, not the entire investment. 15-year time frame, I'm hopeful that it should not be as disappointing as it looks right now.
All right, we're running out of time. I'm going to quickly take one more question in this segment. Venkatesh has written in, Dhirendra, he's 62 years old. He has a lump sum of 30 lakh rupees that he would like to invest right now. He wants to know if he should invest in perhaps a bank certificate or a senior citizen savings scheme. He also wants to know if he's going to have to pay tax on the interest amount that he currently makes of 30,000 rupees a month. Now, just on the fact that he's comparing the tax benefits of the two, does a senior citizen savings scheme win over a bank certificate?
No, they are alike, except that, when you and the maximum investment that can be made in senior citizen savings scheme is 15 lakh rupees. That apart, 1 lakh rupee, the investment made into senior citizen savings scheme is also an eligible ATC investment. So 1 lakh rupee investment will be deducted from his income. Remaining 15 lakh rupee, he should well consider a FMP, because that will be tax efficient first. Then it can also translate into reasonably superior return than a equivalent term fixed deposit.
Well, a combination of the senior citizen savings scheme and an FMP or a fixed maturity plan is what Dhirendra is recommending to you. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, on the other side, we'll review the ICICI Prudential Discovery Fund. We'll find out if it remains a 4-star fund in this market. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Investors Guide on ET Now. It's time for our product review. And this week, we're looking at the ICICI Prudential Discovery Fund. Avan is here to give us a quick introduction. Avan.
Thanks for that, Faye. The ICICI Prudential Discovery Fund just turned 9 years old on the 16th of August this year. The fund follows a value investment philosophy. This means that the fund manager concentrates on the merits of the stock and doesn't pay too much attention to the overall market trend. It focuses on discovering stocks that have high potential but are currently lying low at a discount to their inherent value. Since it takes a while to unlock the value from such stocks, investors need conviction and investment discipline to realize these gains. It invests in companies that are well managed, fundamentally strong, and chosen based on very sound research. As these stocks are bought at a discount to their fair value, there is a margin of safety in the value portfolio. Since its launch in July 2004, the fund has given returns to its investors of 20% every year, which is an impressive track record. The fund manager places bets on sectors like financials, metals, and energy. Now, during the market downturns in 2011, this fund cushioned its fall far better as compared to its category average, but its value-based approach can be a letdown during bull runs. Since it tilts towards a mid and a small cap portfolio, its downside protection is moderate. So let's bring in some numbers to understand the fund's performance over the years. If you invested 1,000 rupees in this fund when it launched, you would have 5,031 rupees today. So should you invest in this fund right away? Our experts are here to give you the answer. With that, it's back to you, Faye.
All right, thanks, Avan. Well, Dhirendra, this has been a very trying year for any fund that invests in mid and small caps. But the ICICI Prudential Discovery Fund has managed to keep its head above water and stay ahead of its category average. Do you think, this is all the proof we need that this is a strong fund?
Looking at its strategy, it's the fund tries to invest in out of favor stocks, and it has been right mostly, and that is reflected in its total return. And of late, I find that it has retained its focus. It does not bring in any kind of impurity in its thinking. Does not try to change track with the changing complexion of the market. So I would say that it has proved to be an outstanding value fund. We don't have too many choice a strategy of this kind. So I would say that it's proving to be a very impressive fund despite its struggle in last 8-9 months.
But Dhirendra, the last time we reviewed this fund, which was about a year ago, you gave it 4 stars. Does it still remain a 4-star fund? Would you like to upgrade it?
I would say that what has happened in the second half of 2012 and the portfolio complexion and the way the fund manager has retained his focus, I would give it a 5-star. And even on a risk-adjusted performance scale, it has improved a bit. But purely based of its style purity, I would give it a 5-star fund.
All right, so this happens very rarely on the show. A fund that was rated 4 stars has now been upgraded to 5 stars. This is the ICICI Prudential Discovery Fund. Remember, Dhirendra said it would make a great complement to any growth portfolio, especially if you have the time horizon to have a fund like this in your portfolio. Let's move on now to our hold or sell segment. Well, Amit Bansal has written in, Dhirendra. He writes in from the UAE. He's 47 years old and he has a long-term horizon on his portfolio. He wants to know a couple of things. Is there any overlap among his funds? Are his portfolio, fundamentals in place? Should he continue investing in these funds for the long term? Those are his questions. Right on top, like most of the other portfolios we look at, is the HDFC Top 200 fund. Should he continue that investment?
Yeah, I would say that, yes, it's a fund worth continuing, but it's going through struggle and a lean patch and a relative underperformance. But yes, stick to it if you have this time frame.
Well, he also has the Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity Plan and the DSP BlackRock Top 100 Plan, Dhirendra. Should he continue investing in both of those funds? Given
that his time frame is, nearly 13-15 years, he can do without the DSP BlackRock Top 100, which essentially remains a large cap fund always. Whereas, Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity, it's somewhat like, HDFC Top 200, and it has done exceedingly well. It has been a very impressive fund. So, retain Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity. Next on his list is the UTI Dividend Yield, Dhirendra. This fund functions slightly differently from the rest of them. Does it make a good complement for the funds he already has? Yes, absolutely. This is a good fund to have. I think it's a very useful addition to the portfolio. The last on his list is the HDFC Prudence Fund. This is an interesting addition for someone who's 47 years old but still has a long-term horizon.
Would you recommend this balanced fund, although it is a fairly aggressive balanced fund?
No, I would say that he can do without it, and remaining 3-4 funds, he should just spread the money, because this does not have play any role in his portfolio, and there is a great overlap in HDFC Top 200 and the equity portfolio of HDFC Prudence, which is 70% into equity.
On your screen right now are the list of funds Dhirendra has approved for your portfolio. Amit, you can write back to us if you need anything else. We have a question that's coming from Shekhar Dhirendra. He has 10 years to retire. He's been investing 10,000 rupees a month for the last 2 years in each of these funds. He has the HDFC Equity, HDFC Top 200 and the ICICI Prudential Focused Blue Chip Fund. Now, he tells us the funds have given him negative returns so far, and he wants to know if he should continue these investments. They're all good funds, Dhirendra. Could it just be market performance that he's seeing right now?
Yes, absolutely. Last 2 years, market hasn't gone anywhere. In fact, 1 year it went up and now it has gone down. And given that your time frame is 10 years, don't worry, carry on. 10 year, I'm reasonably confident. I'm not only not only hopeful. I'm reasonably confident that 10 years time frame, if we as a country progress a little bit, even with far lower growth, these funds should be able to beat the fixed income return and certainly beat inflation.
So good luck with that investment. We have one more question from an NRI, Dhirendra. 75-year-old Mahendra Kothari has written in. He tells us he's an NRI. Now, he invested 55 lakh rupees in the Reliance MIP and 40 lakh rupees in the HDFC MIP earlier. Now, he tells us up till now, Reliance MIP used to pay him a monthly amount of 30,000 rupees. That amount has come down to 22,000 rupees lately. The HDFC MIP, which used to pay him 18,000 rupees, has gone up to 21,000 rupees. He wants to know, since both of them are MIPs, why there's been such a massive difference in their performance over the last year. Could you help him out?
Yes, one is these MIPs, they are basically conservative allocation fund. A good part of that, their money is invested in fixed income. A small part is invested in equity. And that small part can be variable. In case of HDFC MIP long term, it can well be about 30% money is invested in equity. In case of Reliance MIP, it may not exceed 20%. Also, the stock selection or the equity portfolio can have a very different return. When evaluating fund, look at total return. How much you invested, how much it is worth, and how much you have got in the interim. And these three things should taken together you should form your opinion about the performance.
So, Dhirendra, for someone who's 75 and NRI, obviously in investing his disposable income at this point, should he continue both of these funds?
I think so. He should continue with this fund, and given that he's 75, he's conservative, he's looking at income from his investment, it's the right thing to do. Yes, these returns can vary a little bit, but on a 3 to 5 year basis, I would imagine that the return between the two funds may not be very different. HDFC MIP will always be a little more rewarding over a longer time frame because of its larger equity allocation.
All right, so there you have it. That's the advice Dhirendra is giving you right now. Now, if you have a question for Dhirendra, write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. Dhirendra, thank you so much for answering our questions this week and joining us on Investor's Guide. It's been a pleasure as always.
Thank you very much.
Coming up on the other side, we'll find out how you can create a retirement corpus of 1.5 crore rupees. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Investor's Guide on ET Now. Thank you so much for staying with us. Gaurav Mashruwala joins us on this leg of the show to answer all of your questions on investments. Gaurav, thank you so much for joining us. Abhishek Roy has written in. He's 30 years old. He has a take-home salary of 10 lakh rupees a year. And he tells us that right now he's exhausted his ATC benefits, his ATD benefits on his income tax. And he wants to know what other alternate investment instruments he has, because he already has a home loan, which means he's also getting the 1.5 lakh rupee deduction on home loan interest. Is there anything else he can do right now to save on tax? Gaurav.
Well, Abhishek, one thing is that as a salaried individual, you don't have much options left. Once you have exhausted your ATC and your ATD, there isn't anything else that you can do. While we do have once in a while some kind of infrastructure bonds and few other things coming up, as and when they come up, lap it up. But my general request is that you focus on your goals, your requirements, and then do your tax planning. Invariably, people keep these two things separately. And in a process they end up creating their portfolio which is not aligned to their requirement. If you have taken an education loan for your child's higher education, there is interest benefit in the section 80E, but in case you don't have that, you can't claim. Then there are tax benefits for saving for retirement, once you're retired, if you're taking out money out. So for every financial goal in our life, there is tax benefit. If you want to save for long term and if you want equity, there is ELSS, which is ATC, but you also have Rajiv Gandhi Equity Savings Scheme. While there are some flaws in the way the scheme has been enacted or drafted, but you still have that. So focus on your financial goals, your tax benefit will take care. But apart from what you have done, I don't see anything else that's there that's going to give you tax benefit. On your concern about you don't like market link products, well, that's more of an emotional fear, because market link products are more transparent and you can see the risk. When you put money in FD or recurring deposit, you don't see the risk because there is no transparency. You still lose to inflation. So choose your goals and make investments.
Last question on the show. Abdul writes in from Chennai. He tells us he has a young son who's 8 months old. Congratulations on the brand new baby. Now he tells us, Gaurav, that he has an income of 30,000 rupees and he wants to put aside a third of that income right now for his son. And he wants to save for his son's education and for his future. Where should he be putting this money?
Number one, for your son's insurance, what you want to pick up is health insurance, because in case of any ailment, you require health insurance. Usually, this is for viewers that once child is 91 days old, you can have health insurance for child. So first is go for health insurance. Next, your question is that should you pick up any insurance policies for child, and my answer is no. For child's future, what you want to do is you want to pick up investment product, which could be either direct like fixed deposit, direct equity, direct gold, or better option is do a systematic investment plan into mutual funds. Now in your case, since the education requirement, the funding for education and even other requirement of child is more than a decade away, I would encourage you to start a systematic investment plan into an equity based mutual fund. You can start with an index fund which is passively managed, less on risk, while you may lose money in that as well, but less on risk, or go for large cap actively managed fund. Keep doing systematic investments month on month, and when you have requirement, you can use that fund. So for insurance, health insurance for child, yes. Life insurance, no. And then mutual fund investments through SIP for child's education and marriage.
Alright, so that's a wrap on Investor's Guide. Gaurav, thank you so much for coming in and answering our questions. Now remember, if you have any questions for any of our experts, write to us. Email ID is at the bottom of your screen. Remember also to catch the Property Guide on ET Now. It's a show brought to you by the exact same team with the hope to help you make better investments in property. Thanks so much for watching Investor's Guide. You can reach me personally on my Twitter ID, which is on your screen right now.